that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen to me. I'm not going to be affected. And then from the denial then starts the resistance. No, they're not going to do that. I'm not going to allow it. And then anger develops. So they're going through that change curve. And
I'm going to stop you right there, because that's the most defeatist way of looking at things, especially right now where there's so much rapid change everywhere.
yes,
And it's the best time to be able to adapt and move forward, because that's exactly what's happening with technology, with our way of thinking. What our norms are 10 years ago are not even considered norms now, really.
yeah.
So you as a parent, you would instill that way of thinking into your child, like adapt with whatever, make the best of whatever.
That's it.
Yeah.
Look, I personally,
You will move your daughter's cheese every day till she's sitting there making her own cottage cheese in the garden.
create your own cheese, not
She's got 3 goats and some.
No, look, as a young child, I moved about.
You came from
10
New Zealand. You're Kiwi.
From Egypt, and then
Yeah.
I moved to New Zealand, and then we moved to Australia. So I lived in 3 countries, 10 different houses, I guess.
And look at you soaring as an Australian
and
right now.
7 different schools throughout my lifetime. So it's
Wait, and finished school captain, by the way.
yeah.
Like,
so that
went
was
to
it.
7 schools and finished
7
school
schools.
captain. That's something
think
that you've really got to appreciate. Because
Well, I think that's why I got the captaincy, because I had learned so many things along the way. I learned different activities, different sports, different accents, different languages. And when they choose a captain, they choose someone who's in the extracurricular activities quite well-rounded. So I think that is because of the changes. And I didn't get comfortable. I never got comfortable in a.
Are you comfortable now?
Well, I mean, we
It's
were
stable. Like,
stable,
you're gonna wake
stable,
up
but we're going
with
to
a
one day
nice
say, let's go somewhere else
You've
today.
got this beautiful husband next to you, like that says thing that knows how
what
you
to
respond.
Yeah. So I think I had no choice in the changes that happened in my life, but I learned to accept them and move with the changes. Move with the chiefs.
Okay, so providing your children now with such an easy life, do you think that might bite them back bite them in the ass in the future, just because they're used to everything?
I think you don't need to move
stability.
you don't need to move your kids constantly to get them to welcome change, but you need to be. They need to be able to deal with. You need to be able to teach them how to deal with change.
How do you do that?
Well, I don't know. I haven't gotten to that stage. So when I get to that stage, I'll let you know.
You want me to come scare them from time to time?
But I think
I'll come at 2 a.m. in the morning with masks.
But you know what is a really good way to do it is if you instill certain beliefs, values in your children from a young age that don't waver. And
like what?
Whatever everyone's values are different, and their family values are different,
and religious,
religious values. So whatever it is, and cultural, all of that. If you instill it in them, so that wherever they go, these are the fundamentals that don't change, then they can easily adapt everything else. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're not saying just because you're religious in this way, you have to impose your beliefs on everybody else. No, you believe what you believe at your core. You act like what you say you will act, and you act according to your beliefs, and then you adapt yourself to situations.
Okay, but what about if your beliefs are totally out there and you're probably going to do harm to your child?
Explain.
So if you're into Bigfoot, for instance.
Into Bigfoot?
Yeah, you're into Bigfoot, right?
Okay.
All you do is wake up in the morning, see the new Bigfoot articles out there. Naturally, you're going to instill that
love of Bigfoot
into your child just by looking at Bigfoot, and he looks at you as a parent. Yeah, my parent knows everything. And then you subconsciously instill that wrong way of thinking into your child. And
I know where you're getting with this.
do you feel that maybe that there are things that you look at in life that could,
Let's take religion as an example.
Oh, why would you mention
that? I know. So my parents instilled a fear of God into me. Now, it's up to me when I'm older what the choice I make is, whether I want to keep going down that path or if I want to choose my own path. So it's to be the same with my children. I will instill in them what I feel is right. And then it's up to them when they're older to make those decisions for themselves. But at least I have to feel like I've done my duty as a parent to instill in them what I believe is correct, or what I believe is helpful, or what I believe will make them better people. And then it's up to them to pursue. They could go completely against what I have taught them when they're old enough to make that decision.
Not to get into like free will and any of that, because that's a whole subject.
I'm not saying I'm imposing my...
You know what? I think that all parents should learn from what you're saying. Just do your best. Do whatever you think
that's right,
as best as a parent.
Where else are you going to do it? If you are constantly taking what other people are saying, that's not core fundamentals. That is when that starts to break down.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So once there's division within the family and division within the thoughts of what you're saying to them, there's no consistency, that's when you see the breakdown. So when you see, for example, one parent that says one thing and then another parent that says another thing, that's when you get a child that doesn't come up.
Me not even having children, that sounds like a problem.
Yeah, exactly. Oh. And I'm not a child psychologist.
Good parent, bad parent, does that exist?
No, that's a thing.
Not in your family.
It shouldn't, right? Because bad parent, good parent means that, again, there's division.
Yeah.
They know how to manipulate the system so early on.
You know what I love about that? There's this saying, that's the oldest saying possible. Divide and conquer. And that's what children do. They divide and conquer, and that's one of like the most basic philosophies of humankind. Just the conquering is in the division.
It is in the division. That's exactly right. That's perfect way of saying it. Once they see that division, they know how to get to you so easily. So, if you are consistent in what you say to them, if you're on the same page, then there's no way that they're going to be able to play you, And if everything is aligned, then they will grow up to be, you'd hope anyway, quite stable people or stable adults.
So you've got a 2.5-year-old. Have you ever been played as a parent?
All the time.
Oh, the last time you were played?
No, actually one of my friends got played really badly when she was babysitting our 2.5-year-old.
They got played.
She got so played. So my daughter, when she goes to bed, she has this thing lately where she's like, I want water, or or cover me, or I'm hungry. Anything to get out of bed, right? So we've learnt, obviously, we'll stand at the door, the lights are still shut, and we'll say, okay, the water is next to you, pick it up and drink, or cover yourself, or whatever it is, right? So my friend was babysitting her, and she did all of that to her. Every time my friend would go in, turn on the light, sit on her bed, and do something for her. So she's like, oh, sweet, I'm going to milk this. And so, an hour and a half, she kept doing this to her, and my friend was so exhausted by the end when we came back. She's like, your daughter killed my life. So they know how to play so well.
Don't you feel like a certain sense of acknowledgement that my daughter's intelligent? She's psychologically, she's got
psychologically manipulate people.
What's she going to do at 14?
I know. I don't even want to imagine what she's going to do.
Okay, all right. Let's get controversial for a sec. Your daughter's 12. Okay.
Yeah.
She says, Mommy, I met Jared at school. Jared says I've got nice hair and he likes the way I run. He asked me to be his girlfriend. What do you say? She's 12.
She's 12.
Oh,
wow.
Look at you. You don't even know what to say. And you sound like you're all thought out on a general range of topics.
Well, we've still got 10 years to go, so it's not we're not that proactive about these discussions.
Okay, but I'm putting you in the situation right now. Because people are facing this.
Yeah, well, I'd have to speak to my husband about this first before I give you a statement, but... look, I'd really like for the relationship that my daughter and I have to be quite open. And first of all, it'd be really good if she does come and tell me that. That's a positive step, right?
That means there's communication there.
Yeah, exactly.
She trusts you.
Me. Yeah. She wants to take my opinion. And you know what? That's something that, unfortunately, I didn't really have...
saying, Mummy, close the door, and she's on the phone.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it's not something that I had with my parents, that openness. So I'd really, really like it with my kids. Did you yearn for that
as a kid? Did you want to tell your mum, hey, I like what's the New Zealand name?
I never considered it. I never considered it as even an option, to let alone
Mum,
fantasize
I enjoy
about
this
the thought of it.
sheep's presence. I want to spend more time with this sheep.
Please stop.
I've given him a name.
So
we get fish and chips. I'm being so racist.
Yeah, I know, exactly.
Perpetuating stereotypes and accents. So regressive of me.
I think yeah. If we have open communication with each other, that's always a good step, and then we can just chat about it. Like, what do you think is the benefit of going out with this boy? Is what do you want to do together?
Can I play devil's advocate and play your future daughter at 12?
Okay.
Hey, Mummy, I want to go out with this boy because he's got beautiful hair and he tells me I'm pretty and he's very smart in class and he's a good soccer player.
Okay. Well, this boy seems very interesting. So are you just friends at the moment?
I like him.
You like him. Okay. What do you mean you like him? Like, what do you like?
I think about him all the time, Mummy.
Okay. And what do you think about?
Marrying him.
So, what do you think that's going to look like when you marry him?
We're going to have 4 children.
Okay.
We're going to have a big house.
And when do you want to do that? Now. Okay. And how are you going to provide for these 4 children?
We're going to do jobs.
What jobs are you going to do?
Me, I want to become a vet because I love animals, and he wants to become an astronaut.
Okay. So do you know what you need to do to become a vet?
We work really hard.
You study really hard to become a vet, and then what?
And then we study at school after school.
Okay, all right. So why don't you study together here?
We want to.
Okay, you can sit on the...
Can we get married now, Mummy?
Well, legally you can't. But how about you bring him and we can chat and you can study together here. Why don't you bring a couple of other friends too, so you all study together, and that way you can help each other study.
I love you, Mummy. Was that convincing?
Yeah, very good. I think she'll be probably even more than that, but when she gets to the age.
But that's the thing. Like, who knows what 10 years from now will look like?
Oh, God knows.
Like, we're growing up in these crazy transitional times.
Yeah.
Like we were discussing before, stature, money, it all comes from different avenues now. There's a billion ways to make $1 billion because...
And you can do it all while you're sitting at home from your laptop.
Yeah.
That's right. It's a whole different world. And it's good to keep an open mind of the opportunities, and that's why what was fantastic and, fantastic a few years ago is definitely not going to be the case when they're old enough to have jobs and pursue careers.
I think if I had a child, I would just teach them to be the best possible person they can be. Knowledge is power wherever it is. Like, it doesn't matter where you exist in whatever era. Having the most knowledge, knowing, reading, is always going to be the best currency for you. Just
I read a quote the other day. Again, I'm not sure who it was, but it said, "Knowledge is power. Knowledge is not power. Actually, knowledge is not power. Implementation is power."